As you could probably tell by the title and the thumbnail of this video, I am pregnant. I am 13 weeks pregnant, and I thought it would be fun to spend this week catching up on all of those first trimester things like finding out my symptoms, all my appointments, telling our friends and family, the gender, and a lot more. So let's spend my last week in my first trimester together. Good morning. It's currently Sunday morning. It is actually daylight savings time Sunday, which I kind of forgot about, and so we have a little less time than I thought we would have to get ready for church this morning, but we're gonna get ready together right now. And I thought while we did, we could chat about my early symptoms and kind of finding out and all of that fun stuff as it relates to my pregnancy. I am 13 weeks 1 day today, so very exciting, but let's go ahead and start getting ready because like I said, we're a little shorter on time. And also forgive me if I get out of breath. This is like the second video I've filmed since knowing I was pregnant, and talking definitely takes it out of me a little bit, so I'm gonna do my best, but let's start getting ready for church. Okay, so before I talk about actually finding out, I wanted to talk about the symptoms I had before finding out, I guess, which weren't that many, honestly. I have this little pregnancy journal. It's just like a short little paper journal that I doodled on the front, but I've been trying to keep up with stuff. There's like major gaps in entries and stuff, but I've been trying to at least document like the big important stuff and also my symptoms so that hopefully when I'm pregnant in the future, I can also look back and see like, is this similar? Is it different? Kind of all of those things. So I wrote down that before we found out I was pregnant, I was cramping on and off, which I normally get cramps before and during my period, so that wasn't like crazy, but I do feel like it felt a little bit different, like it wasn't normal period cramps, which I feel like a lot of people say that, but if you experience it, I feel like it's true. I also put that I was tired, which again, not uncommon for before your period. More thirsty, which I do feel like happens to me sometimes, but that one was a little bit more out of the ordinary. And my boobs were not sore like they normally are. It was like my nipples that were sore. I feel like there's going to be some TMI things in this video just because that's kind of what pregnancy is, but that was definitely one of the main things that I was like, this is different for me. Like this is not my normal like soreness that I have. So that was interesting. And then the last thing I put that was also very interesting for me was that I wasn't craving sweets like I normally do. Like normally I am in general a big sweets, chocolate kind of person, but especially before my period, and I just don't feel like I cared that much, and that will, I think, continue to be true. But yeah, so those were like the first symptoms I had. But the symptom that I had that actually made me want to take a test, I forgot I'm supposed to be getting ready. The first symptom I had that actually made me want to take a test was that I track my cycle, and so I take my temperature every morning, or I was to track my cycle. And that morning, it was a Saturday, I woke up, I took my temperature, and it was the day that I should have gotten my period. So normally my temperature will drop. So if you don't know, like pre-ovulation, your temperature is lower, and then after you ovulate, it's higher. So it kind of does like this. And then right before your period or during your period, like it drops back down. And so I took my temperature that morning, and instead of dropping like it should have for my period, it went up like half a degree. It was close to like 99. And I was like, that's really out of the ordinary. So I thought either, because I think my nose was like a little bit stuffy too, which this was January 3rd. So not uncommon in the winter, but so I assumed either I was pregnant or I was getting sick. And so I decided to take a test just to see. Something about pregnancy that's definitely been a more recent symptom, but a symptom is just like my skin. I feel like overall has been pretty good considering all of the hormones going on, but I have gotten a few like pimples, and then also just, well, I just covered it up, but like just a little more like texture, like redness and bumps on my cheeks, which I'm so thankful because I'm thankful for the hormones that are helping my baby grow, but that's just been something new and a little more recent. And then also like in between my like eyes right here has also been getting like very red and textured, and it's just been dry, which again, it's been winter, so I don't feel like that's like a crazy thing to be like, oh, my skin is dry in the winter, but more dry for me, I would say. So those are definitely things as well. It could also be the food I've been eating though, because we'll get to this probably this afternoon, but I've been all over the place with what I've been eating. And so I do feel like some of that could also just be contributing to my skin kind of freaking out because we're not used to eating this stuff. So back to my story. The morning we found out, like I said, I woke up and took my temperature, and that was kind of my sign that I needed to take a test. So I came in here and I first got out the first response, the test with the lines. Let me see if I have one. So I first got out one of these, which is like the ones that have the 1 or 2 lines, and I've taken these multiple times. I finally have gotten to the point where like I stopped taking them and was just waiting for my period because I was wasting tests. Not wasting, but you know, if they were negative. So I did this one first. I use a cup because that way if it is positive, you can take more. So I did this one first. I dipped it and put it to wait. I went and set the timer, and then I immediately went and woke Jackson up because he was sleeping. And I basically was like, you have to wake up and go check the test. Like I took a pregnancy test, and he's like, what's happening? Because he had just woken up. And so he gets up and I like explain what's going on, and then the timer goes off. And so I'm sitting out there on the couch. He comes in here to look at the test, and it takes him a minute. Like he's just like looking at it, which he's never looked at a pregnancy test before, I guess. So he was like, wait, is it 1 line or 2 lines? And then finally I'm back there. He like turns around and looks at me, and he's like, and I'm like, because I know that means it's pregnant. And so that was kind of how we found out. And so this was that original test, was the 2 lines, and they're pretty, well, I mean, they've faded some now, but like they were really dark that morning, like both of them. So I was like, oh, this is like real, which again, it was the day I was supposed to get my period. So I wasn't testing like super early. And so then, like I said, because we used the cup, we went ahead and did a digital test, and it also said pregnant, which I feel like seeing the word makes it feel even more real. And it's just fun to like have this test. I know eventually the digital thing will die, but for now it's really fun. So yeah, that was how we found out, and took the other test, and we just were like chatting and like, what's happening? What are we going to do? You know, all the big things. We were obviously so excited. So that was in the morning on January 3rd. Like I said, that was like right after I woke up, which also I have taken a decent amount of pregnancy tests before. Like I said, I tried to stop because I was wasting them, and I always do it like I would do it on my own, like because I wanted to surprise him or whatever. But this one, for some reason, I was like, I just want him to be a part of it. And I'm so happy that we did that and it was positive for this one. It was just really sweet to find out together, and like him be the one to like tell me when he was like, and all of that I just think was really fun, and it's just a really sweet memory that we have together. So yeah, that was how we found out. And then we ended up going out. So the only family that live here that we could tell in person are my brother and his wife and their little baby, our niece. And so we went over to Carter's and bought a little onesie that said cousin crew to take over to my brother and sister-in-law. And so we ended up doing that on that Saturday night after we found out. So we had kind of always known that whenever we did get pregnant and find out, we wanted to like share immediately, because to us, this baby is already our baby. Like we're already parents, and this life is already so just precious and special to us. And we knew that like we wanted to share as soon as we could, no matter what happened. And so yeah, we went and bought that onesie, and then we went over to their house that night and told them, and they were, I feel like, pretty surprised. My brother was actually like, I thought that's why you were coming over. And we were like, what? Because I think I told them, so this was right after Christmas. So I think I told them that like I had a gift for my niece that like I forgot at Christmas, or it came in late or something, and like, could I bring it over? And so I don't feel like that was that suspicious, but apparently my brother was like, I knew something was up. So it's like, okay. And then while we were over there, we took a picture with our niece in her cousin crew shirt, and we took the tests over there so we could take a picture with that with her. And so we got my parents a digital photo frame a few years ago. if you have parents or grandparents or live far from family, it's a great gift. But we did that because we knew that like we'd be living further away and hopefully there'd be, you know, grandkids to come and all of that. And so we had just been with all of our family over Christmas. Like all 4 of our parents had been in town the Saturday before we found out. Like we had dinner with all of them and my brother and sister-in-law. So we knew that we weren't going to see them in person for a while, and we needed to we wanted to tell them over the phone somehow. And so I had always kind of had this idea that I wanted to upload a photo to the frame, and normally when I do that, I'll text my dad. I did that. I uploaded the photo of us with our niece with her shirt and the pregnancy test, and he was like, oh, I don't see it, I'll look later. And I was like, no, because I guess maybe there was a delay or something that night. It just like wasn't uploading perfectly. And so finally, after a few minutes, I just texted them the photo, and then we called them and they were like, wait, what? Kind of trying to like zoom in on the picture. And so that's how we told them, and they were obviously so excited. After that, we FaceTimed Jackson's family, and Jackson like FaceTimed them in a group FaceTime, like his parents and his sister, and was just like holding the phone up to the pregnancy test. And the only person that answered was his dad, and he didn't say anything. He was just like staring at the screen, and Jackson was like, do you see it? And he was like, yeah, that's great. It was just kind of a funny interaction. And then he was like, well, where's everyone else? And they were doing something. He was like, well, I'll call back in a minute, like pretend like you don't know. And so then we called back, and like everyone answered, and we were able to tell them, and they were obviously so surprised. Well, his sister wasn't that surprised. I think whenever we like FaceTime her, she assumes that we're pregnant. But his parents were like so surprised. They're like, you didn't know last week? Like, why didn't you tell us when we were in town? You know, but they're so excited because this is their first grandchild. And so, yeah, it was just really sweet to be able to share the news immediately with like all of our immediate family. And then I would say throughout the next week to month, just kind of depending on how I felt and when we thought about it, we kind of shared with like other friends and extended family and stuff. So like I called my grandmother, texted some of my friends like photos, Jackson called some friends, like we just kind of shared that way. I obviously told friends here in person almost immediately, like really like 4.5 weeks. We had told like most of our friends and family, because like I said, we just knew that we didn't really want to wait. We wanted people to like be a part of it immediately. And so yeah, that was kind of the first week of knowing and finding out and all of that. I feel like this was very chatty, but I think this whole vlog is going to be chatty because I just have so much I want to share about my first trimester and finding out and the gender and my appointments and just everything. And so I'm going to finish getting ready, and then we will head to church, and I will catch up with you guys this afternoon. We are at Whole Foods, which you guys probably don't realize what a momentous occasion this is, but I have not been grocery shopping or to the grocery store since the beginning of January. Well, I went once with Jackson a couple weekends ago when I was feeling a little bit better, but I didn't last long and I didn't feel great. And then we went once in like the middle of January. This was when I found out that I couldn't do the grocery store anymore. It was right before the big snowstorm that we had, I feel like across like the whole country, but we got like a flight here in Indiana. We came on a Friday night. It was like packed because everybody was shopping before it started snowing on Saturday. And I was not doing well. And yeah, I was not doing well in the store. And then I ended up having to leave and basically got sick in the trash can outside of this Whole Foods. But that was the last time I really tried to go grocery shopping. But today, the sun is shining. I've been feeling better. I'm almost in my second trimester and I'm feeling brave. Like I want to try the grocery store. So a big thing I will say is that for January and February, I even struggled to like make a grocery list. Like at first I was trying to make the list and order food online, like place a pickup order. I did that maybe once in January. But even like thinking about food, trying to make a list and trying to like put the food in the cart on my phone made me so nauseous that I had to stop. And I finally just ended up like telling Jackson what to go buy or trying to put it on a list, but then like I couldn't do that for very long, and then also just telling him like buy whatever sounds good. So we've been in survival mode when it comes to like what we've been eating for a while, but my goal this week is to try to cook 3 meals. I also haven't cooked since like the first week of January, so we're trying a lot of new things this week. But I'm gonna go into the store. I'm also gonna try to run to BJ's, like a whole sale kind of place, and get a few things there as well. But we're gonna try this. We're gonna do it together and see how it goes. I'm feeling pretty hopeful. Again, it's also just like warm today. My car says 53, but like the sun right here shining on me, like it feels so good. And so we're gonna do this, and then I feel like maybe while we're putting the food away this afternoon, and also I'm planning on making chocolate chip cookies because that sounds good, and then cooking tonight. So maybe while we're putting groceries away and also cooking, we can also chat more about my nausea and vomiting in the first trimester, because I would say that has been my top worst symptom. It started like the second week of January, I think, and just I would say this past week has really like let up. And so yeah, we'll chat more about that too, because I want to share kind of my experience and all of that as well. So let's go get some groceries and then we will chat. We did it! I do feel like I started feeling the tiniest bit icky in there, just like not nauseous, but I've used the word icky, I don't know, in my pregnancy to describe it. Like I'm like, I don't feel nauseous, but like I don't feel normal. I just feel like icky. I feel like I felt a little bit like that in the store, but I'm gonna count that as a win. So we're gonna go ahead and go to BJ's since that was a success. We're back home. I'm gonna put the groceries away, and while I do, I'm gonna try to chat and remember all of the things I wanted to share about nausea and morning sickness and all of that, which has been a journey. And I was flipping through my pregnancy journal to like remind myself of a few things, and I feel like I really have like blocked some of it out. Like January and February are truly a blur between the nausea and the exhaustion, which we'll talk about maybe another day this week. So my nausea started, I would say, around 5 weeks, but more so around 5 weeks, it was like food aversions. I remember at 4 weeks, like I found out right at 4 weeks, and then that week I was like tracking what I was eating. I was making sure I was getting like all my nutrients, and I was like, I'm gonna do this my whole pregnancy and make sure I'm getting enough choline and folate and like all these things. And that very quickly stopped, which is totally fine because that's what happens when you start not feeling well. But so around 5 weeks, I would say I started getting like food aversions. I had planned like a whole week of more healthy meals with lots of nutrients, and I couldn't cook like any of them, but I could still eat. It was just like I didn't want certain things, and I more so wanted to like eat out or different things like that. And then I would say around 6 weeks is when it started getting worse in terms of like I actually started feeling nauseous, I think at the 6-ish week mark. And then it was during, well, the end of 5 weeks. I really feel like at first it was like Thursdays for some reason were when like my symptoms would change. I'm trying to figure out where the best place for me to stand is, but I feel like I should stand over here. So I feel like it was Thursday, like at the end of my 5 weeks. And then 6 weeks, I really started feeling nauseous. And then that was the first week that I actually got sick. I woke up on Thursday morning. So I was like 6 weeks, 5 days or something. And I take thyroid medicine for like helping support the pregnancy. And so you have to take it in the morning on an empty stomach. Yeah, you can't eat for like 30 minutes. And so I had that on an empty stomach, and I don't know what happened. That was the only time that I have gotten sick in the morning too, which I feel like is interesting. It was the only time. Every other time that I got sick, it was between like 3 and 9 p.m. It was always like the afternoon and evening. So I would say instead of me having like morning sickness, I really had evening sickness. Like I normally was fine for the most part until about, I would say 3 o'clock. And then that's normally when I started feeling bad. I did start eating like a bowl of cereal or something around that time, and sometimes that would help, but sometimes I'd still get sick. So it was like, I don't know. So that was 6 weeks. And then basically from 6 weeks to 9 to 10 weeks, I was basically like low grade nauseous all day. Like I would wake up in the morning and it wouldn't be like I felt normal. Like I would still feel nauseous. It just wouldn't get like super bad until the afternoon and evening, I guess. So I would wake up, I would feel like low grade nauseous most of the day. And then it would get worse at night, and that's when I would get sick. Basically from week 6 until like week 9, 10, 11. Week 11, like day 2, I think, was the last time that I've gotten sick, which was 2 weeks ago now. Honestly, putting all this food away is making me feel a little bit icky, so I don't want to like say that. That's not wood, but you know what I mean. Like it's been 2 weeks though. That was 11 weeks was the last time I got sick so far. But yeah, from 6 weeks or 5.5 weeks to 11 weeks, I was basically somewhat nauseous all the time and then was getting sick like every other day. And that was not fun, including the time that I basically got sick at Whole Foods, which we talked about while we were out. Another thing about the nausea is that I feel like it also kind of a little bit turned into like car sickness a tiny bit. I noticed that the first time this happened was after our first appointment, our 8-week ultrasound. So Jackson went with me and he was driving, and afterwards we were like gonna go get food or something to celebrate, and we were driving, or he was driving and I was riding. And I think it was a combo of like being nauseous and being in the car and getting like, I got car sick growing up and stuff. And I started feeling so bad and I was like, you have to pull over. That time we pulled over in like a fire station parking lot. Had to get sick, so that was fun. But, and then I think that happened one other time. That was at 11 weeks. I feel like I had kind of been feeling better during 10 weeks, gotten sick a few times. And then that 11-week day, we were in the car coming back from telling my brother and his wife the gender of the baby. And we were in the car and I was like, I'm not feeling good. And we like barely made it back home. And I was like, yeah, I got sick. So that's kind of a summary of my journey with morning sickness. But like I said, mine was really evening sickness for the most part, and also all day. Yeah, I plan to chat some at the end of this video about like different things that helped me in my first trimester. So I'll share some of those things towards the end of the video. But honestly, with the nausea and the vomiting, you just have to like survive. And honestly, when people would tell me to like chew ginger or whatever it is that people say helps or maybe help them in their pregnancy, just when you feel so miserable and nauseous, like it doesn't help. Maybe that was just me, but I was like, I can't. So I was mostly on the couch for those weeks. We, like I mentioned earlier, I think got that snowstorm after we were at Whole Foods and stuff, and we ended up getting like a few days off of school, which was great because I was able to just stay home and lay on the couch. And truly, I was on the couch all day, no energy, did not feel good, which goes back. I feel like the exhaustion and the nausea go like hand in hand because you feel bad, but you're also so tired. And so I'll talk about that another time, like I said, but the nausea was truly like nothing I've ever experienced. Just like feeling that bad all the time is so hard. And I'm just feeling very thankful to be, for the most part, feeling better. Like I said, I still have moments or waves, but for the most part, like I'm able to eat normally. I was able to go to the store, which looking at like meat, and there were a few things that I was like, ugh. But for the most part, I was able to do that and not feel nauseous, just feel a little bit icky. So feeling all around very thankful for all of those things. And if you're in the first trimester, hang in there. It gets better. You just got to push through. Don't eat something that doesn't sound good. Eat what you can. And don't stress too much because it's going to get better. It gets better for most people, at least. That's the other thing about the nausea, is that like for most people, it gets better around the end of the first trimester, beginning of the second, which is kind of what happened for me. But I know for some people it takes way longer, or they're sick their entire pregnancy, which I truly have so much sympathy and empathy now, because I can't even imagine. But yeah, I'm just really thankful to, I think, be feeling better. I keep like being nervous to say that because I don't want to like say it and then, because I feel like I kind of said it around like the 9-10 week mark. I was like, oh, I'm better. And I was not quite better yet. I was like, I feel like on a new level of like, I wasn't down here anymore, but I wasn't like quite over the hump. And so I think we've at least turned a corner where like I'm having more good days than bad days, more good moments than bad moments, and I am able to eat more real food, which is a real win. We've really eaten a lot of fast food recently and eaten out a lot because again, I haven't been cooking, but I'm hopeful that we're going to be making some meals this week in the kitchen. Hello from the corner of the couch where I spent the majority of my first trimester. I wanted to catch you guys up a little bit because since that last clip I filmed, it's been a few hours, and basically immediately after I hit stop recording on that last clip, I was like, oh, I feel really nauseous, like the worst wave I've had like all week, which granted, I went to 2 grocery stores and put groceries away and looked at a lot of food, which the weeks that it was really bad, like I could not even open the fridge without like feeling super nauseous. There was one day that I like got up and I think I just like went to the bathroom to get something and then walked back into the bedroom to lay down because I was feeling so nauseous this morning. And then I saw like applesauce sitting on the nightstand because I had that to like try to keep something down, and immediately like saw it, went and got sick. And so just like the thought or the look of food was really getting me for a while. So the fact that I made it through that today and that was just like minimal wave and trigger, I feel like was great. I also feel like my stomach was pretty empty and I was hungry, which does tend to be, if I eat too much or if I don't eat enough, that was normally when I was not feeling well. So I did eat some chicken nuggets after I got home, and then I laid down and took like a little over an hour probably nap, which has been pretty standard for me in the first trimester, and that was really nice, especially with daylight savings time today. Like I feel like most people probably take naps, so that was really nice. And then I did end up making the pasta. I just took a little video of it. I didn't film myself making it because honestly it was not bad, but just a little bit of a struggle. I think especially too because some of the weeks that like I was feeling okay, pasta was like one of the things that I feel like I could cook. And so I just feel like certain foods right now just bring back different memories. And so that's something I'm trying to like not dissociate in a bad way, but like dissociate those memories with like those foods. Like we normally do smoothie bowls on Friday nights, but we did a smoothie bowl one night when I thought I was feeling okay, and then it ended up not, and I really haven't wanted that since then. So I'm trying to like make new memories with food so that I can eat things that I like again. But that's kind of what ended up happening. I was gonna make the chocolate chip cookies I bought all the ingredients for because they sounded so good earlier. But honestly now, one, I'm just so tired even after taking a nap, and I want to get in bed early. And cooking and cleaning up is just a lot of work after I already cooked and cleaned up dinner for the first time in 2 months. And also I have this ice cream that is so good that I want to eat instead. So I'm going to eat this and watch Abbott Elementary in a little bit and just rest tonight, which I think is totally good. And I have a few thoughts on this. So one, I feel like pregnancy has helped me be less go, less to-do list focused. Like I used to be so focused on like what I needed to get done that day and just like keeping up with the house and cooking healthy meals, and all of those things are good and I want to get back to those things. But I feel like it's been good for me to be like, oh, I can not do all of those things and like the world still spins and everything is fine and like I can survive. Not that I always want to be in survival mode like we have been the last few months, but I think it's just been a good life lesson for me in that I can let some things go. And I know that as I continue this journey into motherhood, I'm just going to continue to learn more and more of that so much is just not in my control. And the other thing about the ice cream is that I used to not eat gluten or dairy. I've had a dairy allergy basically since I was young. And then the gluten thing really happened in like college. and I think it was 2020, I cut out gluten and dairy like completely for at least a year. And then since then, I've for the most part eaten gluten and dairy free, but will eat it every once in a while, but sometimes it still hurts my stomach. And before, like in college, when I was eating gluten and dairy, I would get the worst like stomach cramp, pain. Like I almost went to the hospital one time. My stomach hurt so bad after eating like cheesy pasta. But in pregnancy, which I've heard that this can happen, I've been able to eat things that like I haven't eaten in years, like real mac and cheese, real pasta with real cheese, real ice cream, real gluten pasta and like bread, and I've eaten some of that here and there, but like I'm eating it multiple times a week, and like my stomach, aside from the morning sickness part, like it's fine with the gluten and dairy, which has been a gift in all of the other stomach troubles I've had, that I've been able to like eat things that I haven't been able to eat and enjoy things like this ice cream, which, speaking of which, if you see this ice cream in the store, you should definitely buy it. This is organic ice cream and it has such good ingredients. It's like pasteurized organic cream and organic non-fat milk, organic cane sugar, organic Dutch cocoa, organic egg yolks, and organic vanilla extract, and that's it. So I also don't feel as guilty eating this in pregnancy because, I mean, one, I'm getting some calcium and like some nutrients for baby, and also it's pretty clean ingredients, so I'm gonna snack on that in a minute. But the last thing I wanted to talk about as it relates to all of this food stuff is aversions and cravings. I feel like that was something I was really expecting in pregnancy, and I know it could still come, but I don't feel like I really had like any strong aversions or cravings. I feel like in general in the first trimester, I had an aversion to like all food in general. For a while, I was just eating like bananas and crackers, like kind of like that brat diet. Yeah, and I don't feel like I've really like craved anything either. Like, yeah, some nights I've been like, oh, this fast food or whatever sounds good, but I don't feel like it's been any different from like a normal night when I would think that something sounds good versus when people talk about like super strong cravings and aversions. I just don't feel like I've really experienced that. But like I said, it could still come. I do feel like there's certain things that, yeah, like sound good or don't. Like the first, I think it was at 5 weeks, I really wanted like a burger and like a romaine, like Cobb kind of salad, which was kind of random, but like I haven't had any weird cravings or aversions or anything like that. Like random things will sound good at times, but nothing like overpowering, which if you've been pregnant, let me know. Like, were your cravings and aversions like super strong? Because I feel like people make them out to be really strong, but I just haven't experienced that. And I don't know if maybe I'm just wrong and I have experienced it and it's just like not anything crazy, or if I'm just not experiencing the like super crazy ones. So I think that's everything I wanted to share kind of related to the nausea, food aversions, cravings, morning sickness, eating, all of those things. But I'm sure if there are other things I think of, I will share them throughout the week. But I think I'm going to go ahead and just get cozy for the night, eat my ice cream, drink my water. I've been loving the last few weeks water with coconut water and salt. It's like my favorite way to drink water. It tastes so good to me. I think it's the salt, but I'm going to do that and have a cozy evening, and I will see you guys tomorrow for some more pregnancy catch-ups and chats. And I think we're going to go on a walk because the weather's going to be beautiful. It was beautiful today too, but I will see you guys tomorrow. Okay, we are out on a little walk. I stopped right here by the little creek because I just like the sound. So today I had to work, and then when I got home I ate an apple with almond butter and like cacao nibs. I feel like I said yesterday, I haven't had like a ton of actual cravings, but that is something the last like week or two that always sounds good, and it's good to get like fiber and stuff. So that's kind of been a go-to snack for me lately. So I ate that, and now I'm out on a little walk because, I mean, look at the sun shining. This weather it's like 70 degrees. I'm wearing shorts. Like, this is unheard of. I think this is the first time I've worn shorts since like September, October, I don't know. So this is glorious. And just the fact that I have energy to be outside, which is kind of what I wanted to talk about on our walk today, was the fatigue. Talk about the fatigue. So I said that my nausea was probably my worst symptom in the first trimester. The second would definitely be the fatigue. And I don't think I realized how bad it was until the last week or two when like I've come out of it a little bit. And now I'm like, oh, I was exhausted. And I feel like part of it is that like the exhaustion and the nausea go hand in hand. And sometimes I didn't know if I was exhausted or if I was just like nauseous and not feeling good. And that's why I was tired and like couldn't get off the couch. But it's definitely a combo. But I was so tired. I was taking naps. Basically, I would go to school. I'm a teacher, so I would go to school and work. And then I would just come home and take a nap and then eat dinner. And I was going to bed for a few weeks in the first trimester. I was going to bed at like 6:30 to 7:30. Yeah, like every night I was going to bed at like 6:30 or 7:30. And now it's more like 8:30 again, but I still feel like I just need so much sleep. And the fatigue was just next level. Like I was so tired, and we'll talk more about like the brain fatigue another day, and also just like the toll that that took on like me as a human, because I truly, like what people say, like I just did not feel like human in my first trimester a lot of days because of the nausea and then the tiredness. I was just exhausted all the time, and that was really interesting. So something else I wanted to mention related to the fatigue, but also to just like my pregnancy timeline and the weather and everything, is that I kind of loved, so I found out I was pregnant, like I mentioned, I think yesterday, January 3rd. And so basically like all of January, all of February, I did not feel good. But that's also, those are like the worst weather months here at least. And so it was like freezing, it was snowy, it was negative temperatures. You didn't want to go outside anyways. It was cloudy and gray like all the time. And so honestly, that was kind of perfect for like being sick, because I was gonna be inside anyways. And so I really didn't mind it. I mean, obviously I did because I felt bad, but like it was nice in that sense that like it kind of corresponded to the seasons. And now that like we're getting a taste of this beautiful weather, it's not going to stay forever. I think it's supposed to storm this week and then get kind of chilly again, but it's not negative all week like it was 1 week in January. And so this has been ideal. I feel like I'm like being revived with nature in the spring, and I feel like I'm really gonna love the spring and summer this year, and just being pregnant during those seasons and then having a newborn in the fall. Like I'm really excited about this timeline of my pregnancy. The other thing I wanted to chat about on this walk was my appointments. I know that everybody has like different appointments and it looks different in the first trimester depending on, you know, your doctor and like how high or low risk you are and all of those things. But I kind of wanted to share my experience. So for me, my first appointment was actually at 4.5 weeks. That was because of the thyroid medicine I'm on. I had to get like a check just to make sure my dose was still appropriate, because in the first trimester, and I think most of your pregnancy, the baby is using your thyroid because it doesn't have its own yet. And so it's really important that your levels are good. So then after that, our first real appointment was our 8-week ultrasound, where we got to see the baby, we got to hear the heartbeat and just like confirm that everything was good, which was so fun and so special. So we did that. And then I also got, no, I didn't get any blood work done. I got blood work done at my 10-week appointment, which this one was interesting. Your 10-week appointment, at least for me, it was like a consult room with like a nurse manager, and it was talking about like all the genetic risk and different history things, and it was more like an interview, like just talk thing. And then I happened to also get my blood work done after that for the doctor to go over at my 12-week appointment, which was just this past week. And that one was more like an annual exam. Like we did get to hear baby's heartbeat. It was 160, but for the most part it was like, you know, your typical OBGYN annual visit stuff, which is not the most glamorous or fun, but all of those are out of the way now. And now I go every 4 weeks for basically just like blood pressure, check your belly, hear the heartbeat kind of thing, besides the 20-week anatomy scan, which is obviously a big appointment. So those are all the appointments we've had. I feel like the 8-week ultrasound was obviously the most exciting because we got pictures and got to see baby and all of that. But even just hearing the heartbeat and knowing that like everything is good is obviously so reassuring and special. So we've been doing that, and yeah, I just don't think I realized like I would have 3 appointments so soon in the first trimester, because I feel like a lot of what you hear is that like you have to wait so long to go to the doctor, which it did kind of feel like that between like 4 weeks finding out and 8 weeks going to the ultrasound. But I did get to get that blood work done, which wasn't exactly related, but I was at least in the office and they were like, congratulations and all of that. So it made it feel a little bit more real than like not going at all. That was my experience with appointments and all of that. It was really just special, and I'm excited for all the appointments to come. I know my 16-week probably won't be the most exciting, but very excited for the anatomy scan and just praying that everything looks good and baby is healthy and all of that. So that's my take on appointments, and I'm going to finish my walk and then we will see if we do anything else tonight. Honestly, I was feeling really tired and like had a headache when I got home, but being out in the sun and the weather, it just makes me feel so good. So you'll probably see this, I don't know if it's before or after, but I'm reading Just Friends by Haley Pham right now. So I'm also filming a reading blog, so I might read outside because that honestly sounds lovely. It's now Tuesday and we are at the library because one, I have a book I need to return, and then I also have one book I want to look for, and I just want to browse because coming to the library is one of my favorite things to do, and it's free, which I decided at the end of 2025, before I even knew I was pregnant, that I wanted to do a no spend quarter for this first 3 months of the year. And then 3 days into the new year, found out I was pregnant, and honestly has been really good for my no spend. It kind of sounds like it wouldn't be, because I feel like when you find out you're pregnant, you immediately want to like start buying stuff for baby and like buying new clothes or whatever it might be. And I definitely have had those urges and thoughts, especially now that I'm feeling better. But in the first trimester, when I was so nauseous on the couch all day sleeping, like I was not thinking about shopping or buying anything. And so I feel like for January and February, it was very easy to do my no spend quarter. March has been a little bit harder. Like on, I think it was Saturday, I was like, I really want to go out and go to like Barnes and Hobby Lobby and just like get like crafty stuff. I want to make like a scrapbook, all this stuff. And I was like, no spend quarter. You still want to do it in April, maybe you can do it. But I did buy one shirt at Old Navy related to the gender, which I'm going to talk about after we go to the library, because we were actually at the library when we got the test results. But yeah, I think I've come to the library maybe twice this year. I don't think we came like any in January. Maybe in towards the end of February we came at least once when we found out the gender, and maybe one other time, but like we really haven't been here. And normally I feel like I'm here like once a week. Like this is just where I like to come like browse and look around, more so than going to the bookstore, because here I can take books home for free. So related to that, I guess I just wanted to talk about, and also related to the fatigue that I talked about yesterday, just like the feeling in the first trimester of like I just didn't feel like myself. And I know that's totally normal when like you don't feel good, like when you're sick you don't feel like yourself, but like I had no desire to do any of the things that I normally like to do. Even like reading, I did not have like the brain power to read. Like I read the first 3 books in the Assistant to the Villain series, and I feel like that's what I was reading when I was feeling the worst. So that's all kind of a blur in my head now, which I feel like fits for like a fun, whimsical fantasy like that. Like that was kind of just the state I was in. Like it was hard to even read. Like a lot of times all I could do was just lay there. And so I guess I just wanted to talk about that, because I feel like there was a fear that started to creep into my head of like, oh no, am I ever gonna enjoy like doing the things that I used to enjoy again? Because I feel like especially postpartum, you hear moms talk about like just not feeling like themselves, not enjoying things that they used to enjoy, not feeling like themselves, I guess is the main thing. And I was like, oh no, is that already starting? Like, am I ever gonna enjoy these things again? Am I ever gonna feel like myself? Or am I just like a mom now, and even in pregnancy, like things are already changing? Which obviously, yes, I'm a mom now, and I love that, and things are changing, and my identity is changing, and who I am and the things that I like and enjoy are going to change, and I'm so happy about that. Even coming to the library, like I've been going to look at like pregnancy books and parenting books and all of those things, and like I love that that's a part of my identity now. But I had a little bit of fear of like, am I ever gonna just enjoy like reading and going shopping and like going out on walks and doing things that I used to enjoy? And I am happy to report that now that I have some of my energy back and I'm not as nauseous all the time, I am enjoying more of those things, which is great. And I know that even postpartum, like, yes, there is a season where, so I've heard, I haven't experienced it yet, like you do kind of lose yourself in this newborn bubble, the newborn trenches, whatever people call it, but you will feel like yourself again. And so if you're in the first trimester and you're feeling less than human, you will feel like yourself again, I promise. I don't know when it will be, but it will come. So with all of that being said, let's go ahead and go into the library and do some browsing. And then when we get done, I will share about the gender of baby. Some of you might know if you follow me on Instagram or follow my like personal newsletter I've shared, but I'm very excited. In the car, that was a success. I was able to return my book and check out the Hunger Games, which I actually did put a hold on Libby as well. It said it would only be like a week or two wait, but then I also just grabbed the physical book because I'm planning on doing a whole Hunger Games reread. I haven't read these since I was in late middle school, high school. I don't remember when I read the original trilogy, but if you don't know, since then, Sunrise on the Reaping, I've got to catch my breath. I like walked out of the library and I'm like out of breath, pregnancy symptom, and maybe just laying on the couch for 2 months symptom. What I was saying was, if you don't know, Suzanne Collins wrote Sunrise on the Reaping and the Ballads of Songbirds and Snakes, which are like a prequel and another like companion kind of Haymitch's story to the original trilogy. And I haven't read either of those books because I wanted to do a reread first so that I could really have the full experience. And I also haven't seen either of the new movies. Well, one of them comes out this fall, so I'm not planning to see it at least until I read the books. And then I haven't seen the other one that came out. So my plan at either the end of this month or the beginning of April is to do a whole Hunger Games reread, original trilogy plus the 2 new books, and then also do a rewatch of the original movies and watch the Ballads of Songbirds. Why can I not say that? Songbirds and Snakes movie. And then I'll be all caught up and prepared to watch Sunrise on the Reaping this fall. I think it comes out in November, and I think it'd be really fun to go see that in theaters. Although it's so weird to think about, like, in November, when that movie comes out, like, I will have a 2-month-old baby. Like, that is so crazy and so exciting to think about. So maybe that could be a little, like, first date night for me and Jackson or something. But the other thing that I wanted to share about before we head, well, we're actually going to head by my brother and sister-in-laws to drop off a few things that we have of theirs, and then we'll head home. But I wanted to share the gender because, like I said, so we were here at the library on a Saturday morning a couple weeks ago. I had gotten my blood drawn for the like genetic testing plus gender testing on Monday, and they said it takes up to 3 weeks. And so I was kind of not expecting to get it until the next week. And they also, when they did this blood work, just did a bunch of like standard blood work for me as well. And so those test results had like been coming in throughout the week. So we were here and I got an email saying, you have a new test result. And I was like, oh, I thought that all my test results had come in, but let me see what it is. And then I pulled it up and I was like, oh, it's the big gender test. And so I told Jackson and he looked at it, and then we went home And so like he got to tell me what the gender was, which was really fun. And we are having a boy, which I am so excited about. I feel like I've really been leaning into the blues recently and just trying to figure out who I am as a boy mom. I don't know, just even like the other day I wore like a baseball hat with like tennis shoes. Like I'm like, I have to embrace this new part of my identity that I am a boy mom, which I'm just so excited about. And also the most important thing is that baby is healthy. I also got like some final blood work that I had done recently and like tests and stuff today. And those have all been good, which we've really been praying for. And so I'm just so thankful to be healthy and to have a healthy baby boy. And we're just so excited to raise a boy. I just think it's going to be so much fun. So if you are a boy mom or if you have boys, let me know your favorite thing about it. Let me know your biggest like tip, because I'm just excited. I think it's going to be so fun. So that is the gender. And yeah, everything just feels a little bit more real too after finding out the gender, because I can think about, you know, colors and outfits, and we can talk about his name, which I think we know what his name is going to be. We're trying to, you know, test it out. I think we're more sure about his first name than his middle name, but it's just so fun. And we get to like dream more about what he's going to be like and what he's going to be into and just kind of prepare. And so we're just so excited and so blessed to have this baby boy in our lives. And so we just can't wait to meet him. But I think that's everything I wanted to share at our little library outing. The weather today, if you can't tell, the sky, this is not like lit. It's just white, gray gloom. It's so gross and just overcast today, but we're supposed to possibly get some like severe weather tonight and tomorrow. So I'm definitely gonna head home and just lay low for the rest of the night because I don't want to be out in any storms. I did get Culver's for lunch today. That has kind of been a recent last like 2 weeks pregnancy craving, but you can get a kid's meal and you get a scoop of ice cream, you get your burger with your side and a drink, and the hamburger and the ice cream have definitely been cravings. I feel like I'm needing like protein, iron, calcium, and dairy, like something like that. It hits every time. But since I ate out for lunch, I'm going to try to cook tonight. I think I'm going to try to make enchiladas because that has sounded good. So I'm going to, like I said, run that errand, drop that off, and then head home and make dinner and just have a cozy night with this gloomy day. So, oh, I also wanted to say that these jeans, these are kind of like barrel balloon jeans. I got them at Old Navy last year, but they were like in the clearance section. I never saw them online, but they're my favorite jeans ever. They fit perfect. They're so soft. They feel like sweatpants are the perfect length on me, which never happens because I'm 5'2". They're my favorite jeans ever, and I've been trying to wear them a lot because I know that they're not going to fit soon because they're like super high rise. And I put them on today and I was like, yeah, they still fit, but they're getting a little tight. Like I think one of the most recent times I wore them was to church, and maybe in the morning they're fitting a little bit better, but right now it's like almost 5 o'clock and they are definitely tight. I had to unbutton the button sitting here in the car because we're getting a little bit of a bump. I definitely don't have like a bump yet, but I can definitely tell that like things are changing. So I think I showed you guys a little bit yesterday. Like it's not a full-on bump by any means. I feel like a lot of times I would see girls be like, here's my 8-week, 10-week, 12-week bump. And I'd be like, that's what my stomach looks like at night after I eat pasta. Like, so I don't want you guys to think that like, oh, that's her bump and my stomach normally looks like that. Like my stomach does normally look like this. It's just that I can tell that like it's always like this now and things are just definitely changing. And I can even just like I feel like more like cramps and aches and just like movement and changes, which all good things and so thankful and excited. But it's definitely interesting. I feel like that has happened just in the last week or two in this first to second trimester transition where I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm starting to notice like I'm not nauseous anymore, but now I'm starting to feel some of the actual physical like growth, which is really fun because he is the size of I think a lemon this week. So think about a lemon and then think about how much bigger your uterus has to be too. Like that's a lot of growth and things happening down there. So yeah, I think that's everything I wanted to share. Like I said, I really need to I guess run my errands, get home, make some dinner. Because tomorrow we're going to Pilates and that will take it out of me. And tomorrow we'll talk more about like exercise and movement and what that has looked like in pregnancy because it's looked different. So for now, let's head home. Finished at Pilates. That was my first class in I think like 2 weeks or something, which I started going last summer and had been going twice a week for like 8 months or something, 6 months at least, until January when I was so nauseous and so tired, and I think I went 6 times, and then last month I only went 3 times. I've dropped my membership down because I was just really struggling to get here because of the nausea and the exhaustion. Like I was taking naps instead of working out, which is totally fair in the first trimester. But I wanted to talk a little bit about like what working out and movement has looked like. And honestly, for me, from weeks 5 to probably 11 or 12, 11 and 12, I was basically doing nothing. I did come to Pilates, like I said, a few times because I was paying for my membership and I really wanted to use my classes, but I just tried to like not push myself as much or modify as I needed to and stuff. And then I was trying to walk sometimes. We have a walking pad, so I would do that if I really didn't feel good and just walk like even 1/10 of a mile. And then we did go on a few walks outside, but even then I was like, I don't want to walk and like throw up outside. So yeah, I honestly didn't do a lot. But then the last week or so, as I've been feeling better, I've been feeling like I'm wanting to get back into some movement and some working out, which feels really good. I feel like I really want to prioritize strength and cardio in pregnancy. I know my sister-in-law, she walked a ton in her pregnancy and she had a great recovery. I feel like, not that that was the only thing she did to have a great recovery, but I do feel like that was a huge part of it. So I really, especially as the weather's getting nicer and I'm feeling better, want to get back to doing like nice long walks to keep my cardio good and also just to keep all my muscles warm and use them, and then do Pilates once a week because I dropped to a 4-time-a-month membership. So I feel like that will be the perfect amount to like motivate me to make sure I'm actually working out because I have to come to class, and just get some of that like strength and stretching and flexibility and stuff in that I get at Pilates, which I feel like is so good. I definitely am really happy that I started Pilates before getting pregnant. I feel like it's a perfect workout for when you're trying to conceive, when you're pregnant, even postpartum. So I'm very happy that I'm doing this, and I think this will be a good frequency for it right now. And then when I'm not walking or at Pilates, I want to try to get to the gym a few times a week and lift weights. I know that keeping your strength up in pregnancy, one, for having a baby down the line, especially having a boy and all of the lifting and throwing and playing and running that I want to do, I just want to be in shape for him, but also for labor and for delivery, because people talk about how you've got to train for it, you've got to be ready, and so I want to work on that as well. So first trimester, my workout plan was basically non-existent, and I did what I could when I felt like it, and I really just prioritized not making myself feel guilty about it, but that what my body needed during those weeks really was rest. And I did try to stretch and those kind of things when I felt like it as well, like before bed or something. And now that I'm in my second trimester, I really, like I said, want to prioritize Pilates, cardio, and strength, and then also stretching. I did start the other night, I started working on like a labor and delivery playlist because I kind of want to get that going so that I can listen to it when I'm stretching and breathing and all of that, to kind of train my mind to be calm when I hear that specific playlist. So I started working on that the other night and just started doing some like stretches. I've been trying to research like what things are good to be doing even now to prepare for delivery and not tearing and just keeping everything stretchy and all of that. So that's definitely another piece of the whole movement workout puzzle. Yeah, I will definitely say if you're in your first trimester, just give yourself grace with movement and working out. And then when you start feeling better, just figure out what feels good and what feels important and do that. I do know that people say like, don't start anything new. Keep doing what you were doing before. So like I already was doing Pilates. I originally, before I knew I was pregnant, was wanting to get into running this year and like run a 5K or something. I'm not doing that just because I don't really want to start something crazy new. I definitely think I could run or like jog some, but I'm more so just going to focus on walking for now. So take that advice with a grain of salt. I'm no doctor. That's just something I've heard. But right now I am about to place a Culver's order and go get some Culver's for the second time this week. And I think we got it twice last week. So that's the new craving. But Jackson likes it too. And it's just a steal. And the burger and the ice cream, they sound so good, like I said. So we're going to go pick that up, eat it, and just have a cozy night at home because it's super dreary. It didn't tornado today though, thank goodness, because there were definitely some scary storms out there. So I hope all of you were safe this week with the crazy weather we've been having. But let's head to Culver's. Thank you so much. I am finally making cookies after talking about it basically like all week. So I have my recipe here. I already whisk all my dry ingredients. That was loud. I have my salted water and I was about to melt my butter, whisk in my sugar and eggs, and then combine them all with my KitchenAid. I love this thing so much. It's the prettiest like mint sage kind of green color. And I just love it. So let me melt the butter. The best way to melt it is in like a saucepan, but I'm just gonna put it in the microwave. Don't tell anybody. So while I made cookies, I kind of wanted to talk about the brain fog slash forgetfulness slash mental exhaustion I experienced. I know I talked some the other day about the physical exhaustion, but the physical exhaustion was something that I expected, and I feel like the mental exhaustion was not. I just didn't know that it was going to be like that. So basically what I mean is, you know when like you're sick but you still want to like read or watch TV, like you almost kind of are enjoying it because you feel like you get to just like be lazy and do whatever you want. I thought I would feel like that, and instead it was like I sometimes didn't even have the mental energy to like watch a TV show. Like I started watching on Disney Plus Jonas and Hannah Montana because they're like so mindless. I've seen them growing up. And I was watching Full House because we watched Full House basically like every night growing up. And so I've seen every episode probably at least 10 times. So those things were things that like I could just turn on. I was watching One Tree Hill because I was doing a rewatch, and I didn't have the energy to follow One Tree Hill, which it is a pretty elaborate drama-based storyline, but I just couldn't do it. And then also, obviously, like in pregnancy, finding out I was pregnant, I was so excited to do things like make my registry and like read pregnancy books and just do all of this like dreaming and planning, like look at baby clothes, all of these things. And I didn't really have the energy to do that either. Like occasionally, maybe I would, but normally I couldn't even like think about that stuff. And that was just, again, I think all of this was just expectations. Like the nausea and the exhaustion, the brain fog, all of it is hard. But what makes it harder is when like I think that I should be not so tired, or I should be like reading all these pregnancy books and doing all this prep, and I should be doing all this exercising, when it's like my body probably just needs to rest. And so I feel like that was something I had to just like grapple with. And again, if you're in your first trimester, my recommendation would be to just do what your body is telling you that you need, and don't try to force the other things because you will have time for them. And I think that was the other thing, was I was like, I'm having a baby in September, like I gotta get on it. But it's like, it's only March and I'm already starting to feel better. So like everything's gonna work out and it's gonna be fine. So something else, like I mentioned, was the forgetfulness. I am normally a very habit, routine, remembering kind of person, like almost to a fault. I feel like if I make like a to-do list and put things on it, or I know I need to like clean something or go to the store or whatever it might be, like I almost to a fault cannot forget those things. And I feel like I forgot like everything in pregnancy. There was one thing that I talked about and I put in the Amazon cart, and I think I told Jackson, like, can you order these? They were like these pregnancy, like sweet, sour things to like help with nausea. And then like the next day they showed up and I was like, that was so nice of you to order those for me. And he was like, yeah. But like I just forgot random things, and that's so not like me. And so that was also just really interesting and unexpected and out of the blue, in my opinion, which I know it's like a normal pregnancy symptom, but just not something that, again, I was expecting. Yeah, but I guess it really, in the end, I feel like was good for me because I just was able to be a lot more chill and calm. What I started doing was basically just made a list in my notes app of things that I actually needed to do, whether it was like laundry or returning a library book. I don't know, things that like actually needed to get done. I put them in my notes app, and then I just let myself throughout the week when I had energy do one or two of those things. So my notes app worked as a really good system for me, and I'm still honestly using it to just keep up with things because I feel like genuinely I have like enjoyed my time and my life more in the last couple of months, which sounds crazy to say because I was feeling so sick and bad, and obviously not in those moments, but I more so mean in the way of like, I haven't put so much pressure on myself to constantly be doing things or getting things done. I've had more relaxing like evenings and weekends because I'm letting myself just rest if I need to, or do something fun, work on the registry, lay down and watch a show on the weekends if I do feel good, like we've been going to the library or, you know, doing things that we enjoy. And I just feel like I have been able to let go of some of that like mental weight that I guess I always carried, and just be a little bit more carefree and live a little bit more in the moment, which I'm very happy about. And I am also just very excited that I feel like the journey into motherhood is just going to continue to be like that, where I'm just going to be, you know, learning and growing and surrendering and all of those things in all these different ways. And I know that especially being a boy mom, I feel like I'm going to get to just learn even more about just not being in control. And obviously, you know, I still want to have a clean home and I want to be productive and healthy and all of these things, but like focusing, I guess, on just what's important, which was kind of my overall goal, I guess, for this year when I was setting goals and intentions, was to just spend this year focusing on, one, what's important, and two, honestly, I think I use the word whimsical just because that's kind of been a fun word lately, but what's just whimsical or fun, like doing things just because they bring us joy and they're fun, like making cookies on a Thursday night because they sound delicious. And like, I don't think this is something I would have done last year. I would have been like, oh, making cookies is like a weekend activity. And it's 7:30 on a Thursday night and we're making cookies, which honestly it's a little bit later than I wanted it to be because I do want to be in bed soon. And I'm still reading Just Friends and I want to get a decent amount of reading in tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and whisk these sugars with the butter, mix in the eggs, make the dough, we'll chill it in the fridge, and then we will bake it. And then maybe we'll taste test them together. And I wanted to talk a little bit about sleep before we call it a night. Okay, made my cookies. Here's how it looks. Honestly, delicious. But I need to taste it. But I also wanted to chat just a little bit about sleep in pregnancy, but let me try my cookie first. It's delicious. I honestly might have used a few too many chocolate chunks, but it makes a really thick cookie. Almost like, I don't know if it's Levan or Levain Bakery, but we went to one of the ones in Chicago when we went last year, 2 years ago. And they make like the really thick, like bakery kind of style cookies. And I feel like these are kind of like those, and they're so good. But anyways, what I wanted to chat about was sleep and pregnancy. So I feel like for me, the first couple of weeks, the only like thing I noticed was that I was sleeping so well. Like I would get in bed, I think I mentioned this, at like 6:30 or 7 o'clock a lot of nights because I was so nauseous and then also tired. And I would fall asleep at like 6:30 or 7 o'clock. And I would sleep like a rock. Like I don't even think I would move. And then I would still be able to sleep until like at least 6 or 7 the next day, sometimes 8, 9. Like I was sleeping so much, and this was on top of the naps that I was taking. So that was kind of the first few weeks. I know that a lot of people talk about like having to get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom in pregnancy, and I did not experience that in early pregnancy at least. Maybe I got up like once every few nights, but for the most part, I think that was because I was not drinking a ton of liquids because I was so nauseous, and then I was also getting sick, and so I just wasn't properly hydrated. But I would say the last 2 weeks maybe, I've been getting up like 2 to 4 times a night to go to the bathroom, and that has been, it's really not that bad. But I mean, I don't love it because I wish I could just sleep through the night, because before pregnancy I was somebody who could just like sleep through the night, and it's so nice. But I've definitely been waking up more, but I feel like I'm able to just like get up and like kind of sleepwalk and then fall right back asleep. There was one night, I think, that I came back to bed and just like could not get back to sleep. Maybe for like 2 hours or something. Like I feel like I experienced a little bit of like insomnia, which I never have before. But other than that, I feel like in general I've slept pretty well, which I'm really, really thankful for. And I have noticed that I've had more dreams. I don't know that I've had super like vivid, crazy dreams at all, which I think they say is actually more common with girls, which we're having boy. But I do feel like I just had, especially in the early weeks when I was sleeping so hard and deep, I feel like I was having just way more dreams, like multiple dreams a night that I would remember, which also I guess if you're waking up in the middle of the night, you might remember more just because you wake up and remember one and then go to sleep and remember one. I don't know. But I think that's everything about sleep. In general, it's been pretty good, and I'm really thankful for that. I hope I have a good night of sleep tonight. I will say that we already had these like giant, just like body pillows. They go across the whole bed that we've just had because we like to sleep with them. And so that's kind of been my pregnancy pillow. And honestly, I don't know that I'll need anything else, because I can just like hug that, put it between my legs, whatever. The only thing I've been considering is getting something small to like put behind me, because otherwise I do feel like I'll like roll on my back some or something, or just as my stomach gets bigger to have just like back support. Because honestly tonight my back like hurts. Like I don't know if I did something in Pilates or if I've just been standing a lot today, or if this is the start of like, I mean, I can tell things are like changing and shifting, like I said, but that's the only reason I've considered getting like an actual pregnancy pillow or some kind of something to put behind my back, just for, which I could just use another pillow. Like I really am trying to be relatively minimal in the pregnancy and baby products that we purchase, because one, it's expensive, and two, we kind of are already people who just try to be minimal and decrease clutter. And so hopefully I'll share about that in a future video. I would love to talk more about how I'm building my registry and products we love and all of those things down the line. But for now, I'm going to eat my cookie. Maybe not all of this, because like I said, I haven't been craving sweets as much in pregnancy, and normally I would probably eat like 2 of these, and I just don't even know if I can eat one. But I'm gonna snack on my cookie a little bit and then probably get ready for bed, because it is 8:30 and that's pretty much my bedtime now. So I'm definitely gonna be reading some of Just Friends, which I think I mentioned I'm filming a reading vlog for it, and I'm having so much fun reading that. So I definitely want to get in bed with time to read that as well. So I'm going to do that, and I will talk to you guys one more time tomorrow to hopefully kind of tie up any loose ends, share anything that I haven't mentioned, and also just kind of my final thoughts and advice and reflection on the first trimester and end off this video. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Today I am 14 weeks pregnant and officially in my second trimester. So I wanted to wrap up this kind of first trimester video with some final thoughts and reflections and a little bit of advice. But honestly, I didn't love getting advice from people when I was in my first trimester. I feel like especially just because I was so nauseous and exhausted and just felt miserable a lot of times. People saying like, drink ginger tea or whatever it was that helped them did not feel helpful to me, even though people had the best intentions and were trying to be helpful. So really my advice to you is to try all the things that people say, but figure out what actually works for you. For me, I don't know if this is just a placebo, but I wore those like C-band things that you wear on your wrist. I wore them yesterday. Like I still wear them sometimes because I feel like it just makes me feel better. But I do think those helped to just keep it not as strong, I guess, especially throughout the day. The other thing that I feel like helped me was keeping my stomach around 50% full. I didn't feel good if I ate too much. That normally made me get sick. And if I let my stomach get too empty, that made me feel more sick. So keeping it at a good mid-level was helpful for me. But again, I say just try things out and figure out what works for you, because everybody's body is different and everyone's experience with morning sickness is different. And so what works for me is not necessarily going to be what works for you. And overall, I think the thing that was the most helpful for me was just shifting my mindset and telling myself that it was okay if I needed to take a lot of naps and get a lot of rest. It was okay to listen to my body and eat whatever sounded good, whatever I could keep down, and trust that my body was giving my baby what it needed, even if I felt like I was eating nothing of nutritional value at all. And I would say to just lean on the people around you. My husband cooked like every meal for us. I couldn't even pour a bowl of cereal, I feel like, without it making me nauseous. So he did everything for me for 2 months. And so just lean on the people around you. My parents checked in, my friends, like I just feel like I had a great community that was supporting me. And as someone who doesn't always like asking for help, that was also just a really good experience for me to say, no, I actually like need help because I can't do it on my own. And I feel like that's gonna be true of motherhood, so might as well start now. So yeah, overall, just don't push yourself too hard and remember that this is just a season and at some point you will start to feel better. I don't know when that will be for you, but you will feel like yourself again. Overall, I just feel so thankful and grateful and happy and excited to meet our son later this year and continue this journey into motherhood and to share it with you all. I know this is a little bit of a different video from my norm, and there will still be lots of reading videos as well. But yeah, I'm just really excited about this next season and chapter of life, and I'm really thankful for you guys for being here. So as always, thank you so much for watching this video. Take care, friends.